Guys, welcome to India Today. This is truly exciting to be sitting with the people who have made Superboys of Malegaon possible. I want to jog you guys back in time and run your memories. What was your first single screen theatre experience in life, Farhan?
I think it was Bombay to Goa. बॉम्बे टू गोवा आई रिमेंबर क्लियरली. अगर मैंने थिएटर में देखी थी या एक स्क्रीनिंग हुई थी जहाँ पर बच्चों को लेके गए थे, दैट आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर ऑफ, बट द फर्स्ट थिंग आई रिमेंबर सीइंग इज बॉम्बे टू गोवा ऑन स्क्रीन.
Great. Reema?
These were the first things I saw, but I think I clearly remember watching Sholay on screen. I remember watching Mr. Natwar Lal very clearly on screen. Yeah.
So like those visuals stayed with you for a really long time.
Yeah. And you know, back in the day, we used to carry coins. And if you liked something, if you liked a dialogue or you liked a song, we used to throw coins at the screens. So you never went to the movies without coins.
आपकी कौन सी फिल्म है जो आपने देखी है, जो आपके साथ अभी तक भी है?
इत्तेफाक ऐसा है कि मतलब शोले जो है वो फर्स्ट फिल्म थी मेरी, और वही फिर इतने दिमाग में भर गई वो फिल्म, तो ये आउटपुट देखो ऐसे निकला उसका. तो वो शोले ही जो थी पहले फिल्म हमने मालेगांव में देखे थे. और
शोले का आपकी लाइफ में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है जो आपने किया है उसके बाद. उस फिल्म ने काफ़ी आपको, और
आगे भी है, शुरू से था, और फिल्म भी बनाया मालेगांव के शोले. तो अभी मतलब उसका बहुत बड़ा असर है, मतलब मतलब शोले का बहुत ज़्यादा असर है. ये बहुत कुछ सीखा मैंने वो फिल्म से, मतलब डायरेक्शन सीखा, एक्टिंग उसमें जो है वो मतलब बहुत सी चीज़ सीखा जो फिर मैंने अपने मालेगांव के शोले में आउटपुट निकाला था उसमें.
गौरव, व्हाट अबाउट यू?
मेरी पहली पिक्चर थी जो मैंने थिएटर में देखा, कांटे. मैं अपने पापा और भैया के साथ गया था. और फिर युवा, हम साल में एक आध बार ही देखते थे. वी यूज्ड टू गो टू द थिएटर जस्ट वंस और ट्वाइस इन द ईयर. सो आई रिमेंबर कांटे.
I think the film is all about celebrating our love of cinema. I mean, and the POV of the film is so interesting, right? I want to speak to you a bit about sort of unlearning certain things while making this film, because maybe as filmmakers or as writers we operate in these rigid boxes of whatever the paradigm has to be. But this was such a freeing experience. Was it in a way to sort of just have fun with characters, with the writing?
I mean, I think I was very lucky to have partners like Ritesh, Farhan, Zoya, Prime Video, and Amazon MGM, who kind of really just let us be and let us make the film the way we felt. All the key crew and myself and Varun, we just made the film the way we felt it should be made. And it was completely freeing. And also, the subject we're dealing with, Naseer himself, being so inspirational, and they made films just for the love of cinema. And it was just by chance that what Naseer did gave rise to a parallel, video film universe. That's pretty humbling also, not just freeing.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, whenever your name comes up, there is this underrated tag. Are you now getting a bit irritated with that? The fact that, he's doing such great work, but he's so underrated.
I mean, I just feel like I'm extremely fortunate and lucky. I don't think I'm underrated in that sense. Like, in my head, I've gotten much more than what I expected and thought. I mean, just by virtue of the kind of filmmakers that I've had the chance to work with in the last 4 years, Reema, Arjun for Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, Ramin for White Tiger, Richie Mehta for Extrapolations. These are like the finest filmmakers from our country, and just that speaks volumes of like, how lucky I am, and also how fair the system is. I feel like if you put in enough effort and hard work over a long period of time, it does kind of, you start seeing it materialize.
When you met Naseer for the first time, what was the process like? Did you guys get to hang a lot? Is that how you decided to sort of take this on? Then let me just get to hang with him, just observe him, see him. Or you were like, I'm getting to sort of do my own thing with who Naseer is, or what he's in his head like, the decisions he made, the thoughts that he had.
The first time we met actually was at the Excel office. आपको पता नहीं याद है कि नहीं, आप ज़ीशान भी आया था, and him, his son and me had met, and it's a very normal 10-minute conversation. And then after that, a few weeks after that is when I told Reema that I wanted to go to Malegaon. And she said, what do you want to do in Malegaon? I said, I just want to shadow Naseer and I don't have a plan. So then I went to Malegaon and stayed there for a couple of weeks. And in that time period, we ended up making a film together, our own film, that Naseer Bhai directed after many years, and shot my own BTS of it, and we put it on YouTube. It's called Nana Ki Kranti.
That's such a cool thing. I mean, it's a byproduct of, you never thought this could
You know, it just leads to like the most unexpected magical places, and I feel like that's what's so beautiful about this process of like you can't decide what you want to do. For every film your prep kind of changes, and you have to be just ready to take as it comes and then make the most of what you have.
अब 20 साल बाद उस पे फिल्म बनेगी.
You never know. I mean, that's the whole sort of paid
This
forward.
meta universe.
Yeah.
That
will
Black Mirror
continue.
thing will go on.
We love it. I think that metaverse should just stay, have more things. Farhan, talk to me a bit about just the fact that, you know, how passionate you are about the art and craft of filmmaking. Whether you're an actor, whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera. But tell me, the actor in you, is he complaining that you're giving more producer interview these days?
You know, I've come to accept certain things in life, which is that life has its own plans. You know, so you should, like he said, I think it's very important to be grateful for what you have. And really, really, when you have something on your hands, whether it's as a producer, as something that I'm about to direct this year, or something I've just finished acting in, just be happy and be grateful for what it is. You know, and while you're doing it, just do the best that you can possibly do. But again, just to answer your first part, I mean, honestly speaking, apart from when I'm actively working on a film that I'm on set with, I'm not involved in the details and I'm not involved in the day-to-day at all. Which is why it's very important to work with people whose creative vision, you align with and who you trust. And then when you have people like Reema, Varun, Naseer Bhai, you know, Adarsh, the whole team that's come together to make this film, you know that they're going to go out there and do a spanking job here. You know that's going to happen. Everyone is there for the love of the story to be told. So I was completely reassured. I mean, Reema and me had a couple of conversations when she was away shooting, and it was more troubleshooting as a producer more than anything else, you know, that as and when needed. But apart from that, I mean, you just let the person go out there and express themselves, you know, without getting in their way.
Absolutely. I think, Reema, this is for you. You know, the fact that this is a theatrical release, and early on in the film, we get to see the 70mm. And that 70mm is irreplaceable, just the fact that we get to see that film. At a time, perhaps, when big films are not doing great business in theatres, was this a conscious decision to have a theatrical release because you wanted people to experience what is the story of Malegaon, those boys in Malegaon, what did they feel when they had theatres in there?
Yes, you know, because Superboys of Malegaon has so many layers, and two very big layers, I think, are community, and also it's about the magic of cinema. So both of these things to me is begging for a community experience in a theatre. Apart from that, you know, there's certain content that lends itself to a wider, larger audience. And I think Superboys of Malegaon is that, because though it's a very specific story, that's its beauty. It's so specific that it's got, it's got a diversity in that. It's speaking to everybody. Anybody who has a dream, anybody who's, you know, working with friends to make that dream come alive, this film speaks to them. So, to my mind, it is a theatrical.
What is your one word of advice to anybody who would watch this and wants to make a film today? What are the three things perhaps you would tell them?
Yeah, I think personally, I mean, if you see the story and you see what they went through to make this film and put it together, the technology was just not available to be able to do it as easily as it is now. आपके पास आज अगर एक स्मार्टफोन है, आप स्मार्टफोन पे पिक्चर शूट कर सकते हो, एडिट कर सकते हो, बैकग्राउंड कर सकते हो, सब कुछ कर सकते हो फ़ोन पे. You can release it on the internet. These avenues did not exist when they were making this film. So their drive to put something together is very, very inspirational. तो अगर कोई फिल्म मेकर है, बच्चे हैं जो देख रहे हैं, इस फिल्म को देखेंगे या इस कहानी के बारे में सुनेंगे, and you want to tell stories, today it is probably the easiest thing to do. And talent, in all honesty, because now you have films that are made just for digital getting awarded and recognized in festivals, all kinds of festivals that are recognizing talent. So if you are good, and if you have if you want to call it the stubborn bone or the persevering bone, you know, because nothing comes easy in life, you will be recognized. I mean, it's a matter of time कि आपको मतलब लगे रहो आप और कभी ना कभी world आपको recognize करेगी if you are talented. But just don't अपने आप को hold back मत करो. ये मत करो कि मतलब कौन देखेगा, कौन करेगा. आप फिल्म इसलिए नहीं बना रहे हो कि आप सोच रहे हो कि 1000 लोग देखें. आप फिल्म इसलिए बना रहे हो कि आपको वो फिल्म बनानी है, आपको ये कहानी शेयर करनी है, इसलिए आप फिल्म बना रहे हो.
That's such a great takeaway for anybody to sort of take home to. Gaurav, what has been your most favorite moment of this film? And Naseer, मुझे आपसे भी बात करके पूछना है कि what's that experience like to feel कि कोई मेरा किरदार निभा रहा है, मेरी real life emotions, मेरा heart break, जो मेरा pain था, मेरा struggle था, frustration था, वो सारा मैं वापस relive कर रहा हूँ. What was that process like?
ये तो जो चल रहा है ये तो सपने जैसे ही लग रहा, कभी कभी ऑफ हो जा रहा मैं कि क्या हो रहा मेरे साथ, मतलब ये तो कभी सोचा भी नहीं था ऐसा। जो फिल्म बनाया था वो मतलब एक खाली जुनून था, मालेगांव की हद तक की मैंने बनाया था। और सर ने सही बोला, मतलब उस वक्त खाली जुनून था कि सिर्फ फिल्म बनाना है मालेगांव के लोगों के लिए, और मालेगांव वाले देख लिए काफ़ी रहेगा। तो उसमें कुछ था ही नहीं, हमारे पास ट्रॉली नहीं थी, तो फिर साइकिल का इस्तेमाल करें, क्रेन नहीं तो बैलगाड़ी का यूज़ करें। लेकिन दोस्त लोग थे जो डुप्लीकेट ऐसे लगते थे, तो उनको फिर तो फिल्म हिट हुई और बहुत अच्छा रिस्पांस मिला मालेगांव की हद तक के। लेकिन ये सुपर बॉयज़ ऑफ मालेगांव जब अपनी लाइफ के ऊपर बनी तो अब तो पूरी दुनिया पहचान रहा है, मतलब जान रहा है। अब ये बहुत बड़ी बात होगी मेरे लिए।
Is there a story on set that has stayed with you during the making of this film? How do you unlearn all that, and what's been your favorite moment from it?
Especially now if you're asking me, what really comes to my mind first is almost the last day of shoot when we were shooting in a single screen in Bhayandar. And there was a scene where we were all standing in line pushing against each other, and it just kind of reminded me of my early days of watching a film at a theatre in Payal Talkies, specifically in Jamshedpur. वहाँ पे क्या होता था कि पिक्चर शुरू होने के पहले ना लोहे के वो जैसे जो गेट्स होते हैं वो ऐसे लगा लेते थे, और लोग उसके जैसे मालेगांव के डॉक्यूमेंट्री में भी वो दिखाया और आपने भी शायद ये कि लोग उस पर ना ऐसे ऐसे ज़ोर ज़ोर से करते रहते कि खोलो खोलो खोलो, और फाइनली जब खुलता रहा था लोग ऐसे भागते थे अंदर जैसे कि पता नहीं भूकंप आ रहा है बाहर, एंड जस्ट सो दैट यू कुड ग्रैब योर सीट बिकॉज देयर वाज नो सीट अलॉटमेंट सिस्टम. एंड व्हेन पीपल यूज्ड टू लाइक अ फिल्म दे वुड कैरी देयर बाइक कीज इन देयर कार एंड दे वुड स्टैब इट टू द सीट, टेयर द सीट, थर्माकोल बाहर निकाल के थर्माकोल फेंकते रहते उधर. दैट वाज देयर वे ऑफ showing that they loved the film. So every time there's a film that actually had commercial success, the theater had to face all the
तो अब आपको पता चल कि एक सिंगल स्क्रीन बंद क्यों है.
और ये जो इसमें गाना मतलब शोले में, अच्छा ये फिल्म इसलिए भी हिट हुई कि हम मालेगांव की बातें रखते थे इसके अंदर, मुद्दे सब ज़्यादा. जैसे गाना था उसके अंदर होली के दिन, तो उसको हमने रीमेक जब किया उसको, तो लूम चलाते लोग मजदूर लोग हैं, इंटरटेनमेंट कुछ है नहीं, फिल्म ही है. तो उसमें हमने गाना को उसका पैरोडी किया था उसका, लूम के अपना सॉरी हो जुम्मे के दिन लूम बंद होते हैं, सबको पगार मिल जाता है, घर में भले ना हो कुछ खाने को, थिएटर तो हाउसफुल जाता है. तो ऐसा गाना था. तो थिएटर की वजह से याद आया मुझको कि इतना क्रेज़ है वहाँ पर. वो
गाने के लिरिक्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है.
हाँ, तो उसकी भी पैरोडी कर रहे थे हम.
मुझे बताइए बचपन में आपका क्या ड्रीम था कि मुझे इस एक्टर से मिलना है? जैसे हमारे सबके ड्रीम्स थे ऑटोग्राफ्स लेना था बुक में, अगर कोई दिख जाए तो कार के पीछे भागते थे. अब तो अलग ज़माना टाइम है, बट उस टाइम पे कौन था? अभी शोले है तो आप, मैं सोच रहा हूँ शायद अमिताभ बच्चन या धर्मेंद्र कहेंगे, बट शायद कोई और भी हो सकता है.
नहीं, शुरू में तो सिर्फ अमिताभ जी के अलावा, अमिताभ बच्चन के अलावा तो कुछ दिमाग में था ही नहीं. मतलब वही बार बार वो, क्योंकि फिल्में रिपीट होती थी ना वहाँ पर, कोई भी चीज़ बार बार अमिताभ बच्चन की ज़्यादा लगती थी. वहाँ के बहुत फैन थे वहाँ, तो उनका बर्थडे आज भी मनाते, उनके भी फैंस क्लब है वहाँ पर वो चीज़ की. तो हर बार वो इतनी थिएटर थी, 14 थिएटर थी उस वक्त, और हाउसफुल ऐसे ही जाता था जैसे सर ने बताया. तो उनका तो शुरू से फ़ैन रहा मैं अमिताभ बच्चन का. तो फिर बाद में फिर अभी लेटेस्ट में तो आमिर खान है, तो उनका भी फ़ैन.
This is interesting for Gaurav because you're not hobnobbing in the Hollywood circles and you're getting to do so much international work. During all of this work time, like, did you ever get overwhelmed and awed by the fact that you're in between these people? This is like a dream come true for you to sort of just transcend boundaries and languages and work internationally, right?
I mean, I had a scene with Timothy Oliphant in a show that I did called Alien recently, and it was amazing to be working with him and to have him as my co-actor. And it's just, it's crazy how selfless he is, because it was a scene where the both of us were there in the scene, and then उनका close-up हो चुका था और मेरा close-up होना था. So he had to stay back and give the cues, and which he did for like multiple takes. But not only did he give me the cues, he would make sure that till the time he would feel the line, he wouldn't go ahead. So it's a technique from Meisner. Basically, it's based on repetition. Right, so if he had a line and if I had a line, and then if he had a line again, he wouldn't take that third line unless he felt my line. So he kept repeating his line till the time he decided that, okay, now I feel it and now we can take the scene ahead. So just small gestures like these, I feel like just they go such a long way, and it's just become part of my core memory now that Timothy Oliphant paid so much attention and made sure that you know, I was performing well and that I was hitting the right notes in the scene. Yeah,
Yeah,
surreal
that will
moment.
stay with you for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
That's an experience to sort of have.
Yeah, yeah.
Reema, quickly want to talk to you about the fact that this whole notion that, you know, women directors have this gaze towards women's stories, and that's terrific. And perhaps if it's a male ensemble of actors, then the gaze is different or the treatment is different. You've sort of broken that stereotype with your previous films as well, and then Superboys of Malegaon. Do you feel that's more of a prejudice in terms of women directors direct stories of women better than men, or you think perhaps to each his own?
Well, I mean, I think firstly, yes, I think there is a male gaze and a female gaze. That's, I think, to the first part of your question. To the second part of your question, I think that good writers and directors, whether they're men or women, write good male or female characters and are able to transcend gender in that way. There are many films that men have directed which are very good films about women, and there are many women who've directed films about men that are really good films. So I think that those kind of lines or these kind of labels in that sense, I think are very reductionist, is a very reductionist view of writers and directors.
Farhan, has the family watched the film and what's been the reaction back home?
No, everybody's absolutely loved it. It's a very moving story. You can't not be, you know. So I mean, they're no different from everyone else, you know. And when a story has a beating heart, you know, and there is such a dreamlike quality here in this film. And I must even comment on the way it's been designed, the way it's been shot. It kind of captures the essence of the imagination. You know what I mean? Like because it's set in for whatever it's worth, in some kind of a brutal world where these people want something that they're not able to get, you know, and their aspirations are beyond them, because where they're living is not offering them that. So there is a certain brutality to that, a reality to it, you know, that this is not the place for dreams to come true. And to make it come true, I feel in the way that it's even been designed and created, it's got a very, very like ethereal kind of quality to it, which I find absolutely fascinating. So even visually, apart from the acting and the storytelling, I feel visually as well, it's a very, very like rich film.
I also found it very entertaining. Just the fact that I was laughing throughout the film, it just felt like I was watching a home video of perhaps people trying to do something. I wanted to know more of stories about these boys. Where are they from? What are they going to do next? The writing was so crisp on the point, and it just felt like it wasn't trying to be anything else but what the story is all about. I think that was just the beauty of the film. It was so organic, right? So congratulations. I want everybody to go and watch Superboys of Malegaon. Please, आप कुछ कहना है?
जोया जी से जब फर्स्ट टाइम मुलाकात हुई थी मेरी, तो जाहिर की है मैं फिल्म आपकी लाइफ पे बनाना चाहती हूँ. तो मैं आने के बाद मैं बार बार लक बाय चांस देखा, और कई बार देखा लक बाय चांस. तो उन जो डायरेक्शन थी, जो स्टोरी को प्रेजेंट किया था, जो फिल्म की, मैं इतना पसंद किया वो लक बाय चांस को, और मैं कितना बार बार देखा वो फिल्म को. तो मैं बोला अब अपनी फ़िल्म के साथ इंसाफ हो जाएगा. तो वो और इंसाफ हुआ. तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. और फिर इसके बाद रीमा जी से मुलाकात हुई, पता चला डायरेक्शन रीमा जी, और फिर तलाश बार बार देखा मैं. तो मतलब आप डिटेल में बात जाएंगी. जो मैं चाहता था, जैसे जो बात को प्रेजेंट करना, जो ये जो जोया जी ने प्रेजेंट किया अपनी फिल्म में लक बाय चांस में, डिटेल में जो जा करके, मैं इससे पहले कभी नहीं देखा था ऐसा. और आपकी एक्टिंग तो फिर वो अलग लेवल की थी फिल्म. और जो फिर मैंने तलाश देखा था फिल्म, तो जो डीपली एक कैरेक्टर में, मतलब जो मैं बहुत कुछ सीखा डायरेक्शन से, वो चीज़ को क्या एक चीज़ को प्रेजेंट करने का तरीका जो है इनका है, तो वो मुझको बहुत पसंद आया. और वही चीज़ और ज़्यादा प्लस हो गई ये फिल्म में अपनी. तो बहुत ज़्यादा रोना आया मुझको ये फिल्म देखकर, और बहुत अच्छी फिल्म है और इंसाफ हुआ मेरे साथ.
I'm so glad कि आपने लक बाय चांस को मेंशन किया, because last week only we were sitting and watching it and discussing of the fact that how everybody slept on it when it came out, and if it had to come out today, the whole perspective on the film would be so different and we would sort of eat it up in a very different way. Farhan, what are your thoughts on
बिल्कुल
that?
मेरा करियर कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच जाता.
No, I definitely think it was a bit, you know what they say, ahead of its times.
Yeah. I think Zoya and me keep discussing we should start making films for our time. This नहीं, but seriously, it's a beautiful film, undoubtedly, and thank you, sir. बहुत खूबसूरत शब्द कहे आपने उस फिल्म के बारे में.
Okay, Great. On that note, Farhan, I hope next time I meet you, perhaps it's for something that you're doing in front of the camera. If not behind the camera, soon, because I'm guessing you're dodging that question.
नहीं
every
नहीं
time the
both are
press
happening.
meets
नहीं
you.
नहीं, I'm not dodging any question. Dawn 3 starting this year, so I'm very excited. And 120 Bahadur will release at the end of this year. So both your wishes will come true.
Oh, great. Checklist on both those boxes. And then what's the update on Aaj Le Zara? Because that's again in the press for a very long time.
The first thing we dropped R from the title. It's only called Chile Zara now. So
Another announcement for everyone to know.
नहीं नहीं वो देखेंगे यार, because that many dates have to be coordinated, but that's for some other time.
That's for some other time. For this time, we are celebrating Superboys of Malegaon. Congratulations, all of you guys. What a wonderful film. And please, everybody needs to go watch this on the 28th of February in theatres.